No matter how powerful video game consoles become, there will always be one platform that's a step ahead in terms of performance and graphical capabilities. Sorry, console gamers, we're talking about the PC. If you prefer a mouse and keyboard over a controller, you're in luck. There are quite a few gorgeous games coming to a high-end rig near you. Let's take a look at some of the most visually stunning and demanding titles that'll push your PC to its limits. Anthem. BioWare's upcoming Anthem is a mission-based multiplayer shooter that will see small teams of power-armored heroes venture forth into an untamed wilderness to take down beasties and collect loot. The wilderness is actually the breakout star of the trailer. It's vibrant, verdant, and voracious, making full use of DICE's legendary Frostbite engine to render creatures and environments alike. Throw in large-scale combat between players, parties, and giant monsters, plus some smoke and ember effects while enemy shots spark off the player's armor, and the result is a freewheeling graphical tour de force. To put it plainly, BioWare has never made a game that looks so visually promising, and hopefully it'll deliver on that promise, as many fans of the developer fear that Anthem is the studio's last shot at survival.
Listen, there's trouble. Big trouble.
Soul Calibur VI. Since its humble beginnings as the 1995 arcade game Soul Edge, Namco's Soul Calibur fighting franchise has always thrived on its eye-popping presentation, boasting gorgeous environments, slick animations, and distinctive characters across 6 main titles. Soul Calibur VI looks to continue that tradition, upping the graphical presentation while also breaking new ground by bringing the fight to PCs for the first time.
The wait is over. Let's begin!
Where other games need to deal with a huge variety of characters or massive open world stretching off into the distance, or both, Soul Calibur's gameplay typically consists of one-on-one battles. In other words, every taunt, attack, throw, and stage has been specially crafted to inspire awe. If it isn't already obvious, Soul Calibur VI has no intention of being subtle. It aims to satisfy your every fighting fantasy in the most gorgeous graphics of the series' history. Metro Exodus. The post-apocalyptic wasteland of Metro Exodus isn't about to win the award for most original setting for a video game, but this title aims to make the ruins of civilization look good, rendering everything from frozen cityscapes to every last tuft of a monster's fur in crystal clear detail. Exodus truly pushes the boundaries of developer 4A Games' custom engine. From dust to leaves to shrapnel, Exodus makes particle effects look like an art form. Even if you're not fighting any enemies at all, you'll be treated to a visual feast, exploring the intricate ruins outside of Moscow. Of course, you'll also come face to face with some gnarly enemies throughout the game, and the baddies you'll run into in Exodus are testament to the engine's raw capabilities. These detailed monsters are truly the definition of drop-dead gorgeous. Skull and Bones. Assassin's Creed IV Black Flag took Ubisoft's flagship franchise to the open sea, combining the series' signature stealth action gameplay with a robust ship exploration and combat system. In fact, Black Flag's maritime mechanics turned out to be so good that it became the standout feature of the game. It even inspired an entirely new IP, the upcoming swashbuckler sim Skull and Bones. From rolling ocean hues of blue and green to the massive splashes of tossing ships plowing through waves, everything about this game looks gorgeous. Combat is swift and brutal, and watching the destructive force of your arsenal bore holes into the side of your enemy's vessels feels truly victorious. Let's face it, explosions are always better if chunks of your enemy's ships are flying out of them. Quake Champions. More than any other single studio, id Software put PC shooters on the map. Doom transformed our notions of what could be rendered on a PC screen, and the developer practically invented the modern multiplayer shooter with their mega hit Quake. Quake Champions is id's upcoming return to their FPS juggernaut, and it's bringing with it all the technical know-how of one of the industry's most proficient studios. The developer is so focused on making Champions the best experience it can be, they're not even bothering bringing it to consoles. Guess that's what id director Tim Willits meant when he told German YouTube channel Rocket Beans TV.
Quake Champions will be for the PC. We are not planning on making a console version. We want no excuses, no limitations.
In other words, this is a AAA PC exclusive experience. That means the controls have been built with a keyboard and mouse in mind, not a controller. It also means the graphics can be as insane as they want them to be, because they aren't restricted by any console's graphical capabilities. As any long-term Quake fans would expect, the game looks and plays fast and bloody, like it should. So far, so good. Quake Champions is shaping up to be proof that sometimes all a classic game needs is a flashy new paint job. Star Citizen. Unlike some Kickstarters that raise a ton of cash and then disappear into the void, Chris Roberts' space combat sim Star Citizen is currently in a playable state. Sure, it's an early build, but several of its game modes are available to try right now. While the final release date does keep getting pushed back, it's also played host to a steady flow of new content. Procedural environments means that the game will feature an enormous number of locations to visit, in sharp detail and with seriously impressive draw distances. This game is meant to make you feel like you're living in a science fiction novel. So far, it's managed to accomplish that, and then some. From up-close and personal motion capture to the vastness of the cosmos, Star Citizen wants to look stellar at every scale. To do this, the team at Cloud Imperium Games are using the Amazon Lumberyard engine, a modified engine made by the online retail giant and based off of Crytek's CryEngine software. If it's ever finished, and after raising millions and millions of dollars through crowdfunding it better be, then Star Citizen should push your graphics card to its breaking point. Thrones of Britannia. Creative Assembly's Total War series is one of the most revered strategy franchises around. After 2 successful trips into Games Workshop's grim fantasy universe in Total War Warhammer and its sequel, Creative Assembly has announced its next historical game, Total War 3 Kingdoms, set in ancient China. But there's a surprise along the way, a brand new sub-series within the broader franchise, dubbed Total War Saga. The first such saga will be Thrones of Britannia. This new saga sub-series is meant to focus on specific historical flashpoints, as opposed to broad eras that last hundreds of years. In this case, Thrones of Britannia will focus on the British Isles just after King Alfred the Great's defeat of the invading Vikings and the fragile peace that accompanied it. Despite being a more contained experience, by all accounts it will still have a large scope filled with many settlements to develop or conquer. And of course, the franchise's signature blend of turn-based strategy and real-time tactics will return. Fortunately, the game's graphics haven't suffered, despite its smaller scope. Gameplay footage shows complex effects like light glinting off individual shields, helmets, and weapons, even on a battlefield with thousands of such items moving independently. Speaking of which, the series' trademark ability to render massive numbers of units at once looks as jaw-dropping as ever. The game may be a $40 release, but it will push your rig as hard as any full-priced game. The Crew 2. Racing games often make great candidates to show off the graphical horsepower of their platforms. Next up in this proud tradition of flaunting fantastic visuals is The Crew 2. The kicker? Not only does this title let you race cars across a scaled-down version of the US, but it plants your butt in the seats of boats and planes, too. That means America, rendered in exquisite detail, is yours to explore from the air, the sea, and the asphalt. From rolling waves in San Francisco Bay to the skyline of Manhattan to the mud of deep forests, The Crew 2 has recreated America's diverse environments in stunning detail. The vehicles themselves look gorgeous too, and while each plane, bike, and automobile is more or less photorealistic, the gameplay is about as far from realistic as it gets. After all, The Crew 2 is a title where it's possible to fling your car up to the top of skyscrapers. Lifelike graphics? Sure. Lifelike physics? Not so much. Witchfire. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter from Polish developer The Astronauts was an indie horror mystery game released in 2014. Rather than encouraging players to shoot first and ask questions later, gameplay consisted of uncovering clues behind a recent spate of violence in a small mining village. It was a part of a broader movement in independent games to shift focus from blasting away at endless enemies. So how have the Astronauts chosen to follow up their paranormal walking sim? With Witchfire, a game in which you blast away at endless enemies. While that may seem surprising, it's easy to forget that the Astronauts are the same guys who founded the studio People Can Fly, which made Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment. Witchfire results from a synthesis of their earlier work's high-octane action and the atmospheric dread of Ethan Carter. The Polish devs turned to Unreal Engine 4 to pull off this graphics-meet-gameplay one-two punch. And if its trailer, which features ambient weather effects along with fast-paced gameplay, is any indication, Witchfire is going to be a serious game-changer. Thanks for watching. Click the SVG icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.